जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंसकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शीला प्रभुपाद की, इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य शीला प्रभुपाद की, नम आचार्य शीला हरिदास ठाकुर की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada की जय। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the morning Bhagavatam class. So today we are reciting the verse from Canto 3, chapter 29 and text 36. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 36, please repeat with me. Etad Bhagavato Rupam
Etad Bhagavato Rupam
Brahmana Paramatmana
Brahmana Paramatmana
Param Pradhanam Purusham Daivam Karma Vichesitam.
Daivam Karma Vichesitam.
Etad Bhagavato Rupam
Etad Bhagavato Rupam
Brahmana Paramatmana
Brahmana Paramatmana
Param Pradhanam Purusham
Param Pradhanam Purusham
Daivam Karma Vishesitam.
Daivam Karma Vichesitam.
Etad Bhagavato Rupam
Etad Bhagavato Rupam
Brahmana Paramatmana
Brahmana Paramatmana
Param Pradhanam Purusham
Param Pradhanam Purusham
Daivam Karma Vichestitam.
Daivam Karma Vichesitam.
Prabhuji.
Etad Bhagavato Rupam
Etad Bhagavato Rupam
Brahmana Paramatmana
Brahmana Paramatmana
Param Pradhanam Purusham
Param Pradhanam Purusham
Daivam Karma Vichestitam.
Daivam Karma Vichestitam.
Etad Bhagavato Rupam
Brahmana Paramatmana Param Pradhanam Purusham Daivam Karma Vichestitam. Etad Bhagavato Rupam Brahmana Paramatmana Param Pradhanam Purusham Daivam Karma Vichestitam. Etad Bhagavato Rupam Brahmana Paramatmana Param Pradhanam Purusham Daivam Karma Vichestitam. Mataji. Etad Bhagavato Rupam Brahmana Paramatmana Param Pradhanam Purusham Daivam Karma Vichestitam. Anyone? Etad Bhagavato Rupam Brahmana Paramatmana
param pradhanam purusham daivam karma vichestitam. Okay, word to word meaning. Etat, this, Bhagavata, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rupam, form. Brahmana, of Brahman. Paramatma, of Paramatma. Param, transcendental. Pradhanam, chief. Purusham, personality. Daivam, spiritual. Karma vichestitam, whose activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation, please repeat with me. This Purusha, whom the individual soul must approach, is the eternal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Brahman and Paramatma. He is the transcendental chief personality, and his activities are all spiritual. Purport. In order to distinguish the personality whom the individual soul must approach, it is described herein that this Purusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the chief among all living entities and is the ultimate form of the impersonal Brahman effulgence and Paramatma manifestation. Since he is the origin of Brahman effulgence and Paramatma manifestation, he is described here as the chief personality. It is confirmed in the Katha Upanishad, Nityo Nityanam. There are many eternal living entities, but he is the chief maintainer. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita also, where Lord Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava. Oh, I am the origin of everything, including the Brahman effulgence and Paramatma manifestation. His activities are transcendental, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. This, the activities and appearance and disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are transcendental. They are not to be considered material. Anyone who knows this fact, that the appearance and disappearance and activities of the Lord are beyond material activities or material conception, is liberated. Yo veti tatvata chaktva deham punarjanma. Such a person, after quitting his body, does not come back again to his material world, but goes to the Supreme Person. It is confirmed here, Purusha Purusham Vrajet. The living entity goes to the Supreme Personality simply by understanding his transcendental nature and activities. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamsya. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome once again. So we are continuing the discussion between Kapila Muni and Mother Devahuti. And from last few weeks, few verses, we have been discussing how Kardama Muni is teaching the glories of devotion, glories of what to whom we need to perform devotion, how we need to perform the devotion, what is the ultimate end of the devotion, what are the glories of the devotion. So from the last two chapters, 28th chapter, we started the discussion on devotion, and in the 29th chapter, if you see, almost 9 more verses there, and we will be finishing this chapter. So after discussing the detailed understanding on the devotion service, now his conclusive instructions to Mother Devahuti on devotion. Still we have many more chapters, but on the topic of devotion, he is making some conclusive instructions. So that's where whatever he revealed previously, again he was reaffirming that this is what, as part of this reaffirmation, this today's verse we can see in that context, where he is saying that this Purusha whom the individual soul must approach is the eternal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as the Brahman and Paramatma. He is the transcendental chief personality and his activities are spiritual. This Purusha means the Purusha which he was describing in the previous verses is connecting, and he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is Paramatma and Brahman. So we will discuss about this Paramatma, a little bit on this Paramatma and Brahman. The emphasis on Paramatma and Brahman is comparing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is the basic reason is, see, like Brahman, in the Srimad Bhagavatam we know Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan, iti sabjati. There are 3 ways where we can understand the absolute truth. The Brahman level, Paramatma level and Bhagavan level. But the Brahman is like a Brahmajyoti, effulgence of Krishna. It is all pervasive. So every planet, everywhere it is there. So when we see if it is all pervasive, the people may think that it is supreme because it is going everywhere, it is available everywhere. But when you compare to the form, Krishna's form, Supreme Personality, Bhagavan, Radha Gopinath form, like when we see it materialize, like we see, we are in this room, but we cannot be there in other outside kitchen or any other place. We are here means we can only be at one place, right? We cannot be here in any other places. So with our material understanding, some Mayavadis or other followers, they think that Brahman is the supreme. Since the form is limited, restricted, Supreme Bhagavan, the personal form of Krishna is not superior, only Brahman is supreme. But that is not in spiritual context. Whenever we try to understand spiritual things, if we try to understand our material knowledge, we cannot understand fully. That's where, since our form is restricted, limited, we think that Krishna's form is also limited. Like example we can see, nowadays in the movies, we are coming 3D movies, 4D movies, 5D movies, right? If you have to see that movie, you have to wear special glasses. If you want to see with normal eyes, you will not be able to see. Same logic we can apply here. If you want to understand the transcendental qualities of Krishna, you have to wear special glasses. That's why Brahma Samhita Brahma is saying that's Prema Anjana Chulita Bhakti, right? So you need to develop the love for devotion, Krishna, then you will be able to see Krishna's form everywhere. We know from Srimad Bhagavatam, where in Dwarka, Krishna was there with 16,108 wives, right? He's not that, it's not that one wife and it is not that this. When we see that he's there with every wife personally present, right? They feel that Krishna is there with themselves. That is the potency of Krishna, transcendental form of Krishna. We cannot understand we cannot compare with our material view that okay, it's restricted at one place. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam we see there are various incarnations. Krishna is coming in like Krishna, then Balaram, then Chaturvyas, then second Chaturvyas, then various Narayana forms, right? So different forms in incarnations coming to fulfill give pleasure to different devotees, right? Rama, Narsimha. So that way, when we try to understand, if people who are thinking that Brahman is the supreme, that is wrong. Like even this verse it is saying, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. Prabhupada was quoting in the purport, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo means everything is emanating from me. Krishna is saying, which means Brahman and Paramatma also emanating from Krishna. So Brahman is not supreme, Brahman and Paramatma subordinate to Bhagavan form of Krishna. Not only that, in 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 27th verse, Krishna mentioned Brahmanohi Patishtaham. So Brahman is, I am the source of Brahman. Krishna is saying again, and so the basic understanding is Brahman and Paramatma at subordinate level, subordinate to person. Let topmost form is the worship which we need to perform is Bhagavan form of Krishna, the personal form of Krishna. He is there in the form of Radha Gopinath in our Sydney temple. That is how we need to worship Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. Now the next one I wanted to focus on from this verse is, so we have to, from this Purushadom, we have to approach Supreme form of Krishna. But what is happening in our Indian tradition, if you see, we have 33 crore devatas, almost 330 million demigods are there. So in the normal sense, what people are doing, some people worshipping Shiva, some people are worshipping Ganesh, some people are worshipping Indra, Chandra, Vayu. There are so many demigods are there, and so many people are worshipping demigods. But this is due to their lack of knowledge, they are worshipping. Like in teachings of Lord Chaitanya book, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was mentioning that, like, there are many scriptures saying that we have to worship there are so many demigods. When we read those instructions, different scriptures, Vedas, when we understand those instructions, we feel that, okay, this demigod is supreme because he is doing so many great things when I perform. So we think that he is supreme. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further elaborating that in the same Vedas, it is clearly mentioning that the Supreme Vishnu, Krishna, Vishnu is the supreme person, but people are not able to understand. One example he was quoting in that Markandeya Purana, where in that Purana was saying Durga, goddess Durga, Kali, everyone has to worship. But in the same Purana, the Markandeya Purana, later it was mentioned that goddess of Durga is energy of Vishnu. So the Durga is energy, the source of Krishna energy is Krishna. It means Krishna is supreme. So this understanding is not there in the common people. Because of that, they are trying to worship various demigods to fulfill their material desires. Not only that, in Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter also it was mentioned. Yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvita tepi mam eva kaunteya yajanti avidipurvakam. So, yepi anya devata bhakta, people are worshipping anya devata, the different demigods. Krishna is saying, not me, other devatas they are worshipping. Right? Yajante shraddhayanvita, they all are doing with very shraddha and faith. What is it? Then further, tepi mam eva kaunteya. In fact, what Krishna is saying, they are indirectly worshipping me. And yajanti avidipurvakam. This is the important word. This is avidipurvakam. It is not the proper way of worshipping. So, Krishna is also saying, we need to worship Krishna. We need to worship Supreme Personality Krishna, Vishnu form, not demigods. So, why we are in this verse also translation, we have to approach Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is clearly mentioning this translation, and in this translation we are trying to discuss in detail. People are going to the demigods worshipping, but Krishna is saying, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, many other, all our scriptures also clearly highlighting that Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have to approach, we have to take the shelter of Krishna. Now, then the key takeaway we can see that, do we need to ignore demigods? No, we need to respect the demigods. When we go to the demigods, we need to pray that give bhakti, give the ability to perform service to Krishna. With that mode, we have to approach. Example we can say, suppose if you have got opportunity to meet a minister and the prime minister, to whom you will approach? Prime minister, because he is more powerful, more having the more. If you go to minister also, some things he may not be able to do, but if you go to prime minister, he will have a full power, full capacity to fulfill your requirements. So people directly, it's the material analogy, same thing. When you have a Krishna is there, demigods are there. Demigods are various limbs of Krishna. So when you go, instead of going to the demigod, you respect. Whenever you need to perform any devotion on demigod worship, you worship it, but with the intention, with the mode to pray Krishna, that you to pray demigod that, okay, give the ability to perform bhakti to Krishna. With that mode, you approach demigod. So, other point we can still try to, and we can make another further analysis on this thing, Krishna's supremacy. Like if you see, the demigods are subordinates and Krishna is the supreme lord. That is understanding we. But there are various references from scriptures which will tell that which will highlight the supremacy of Krishna. If you see Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter and the first verse, if you see, Krishna's qualities were mentioned. One of the qualities was Swarat. Krishna is Swarat. Swarat means fully independent. So, no one is beyond Krishna, no one is above Krishna. Krishna is the topmost. So, he is the supremacy. So, since he is the supreme, we can approach him. Not only that, Kunti Maharani also, in her prayer, Srimad Bhagavatam, we can say, Namaste Purusham Tvajam Ishwaram Prakritim Param Alaksham Sarva Bhutanam Antarbahya Avastitam. Namaste Purusham Tvajam. You are the original personality of person, supreme personality of Godhead. So, Kunti Maharani is also highlighting in her prayers that supremacy of the Krishna. So, and in the Bhagavad Gita also it is mentioned chapter 4, Ajopisan Avyatma. So, I am unborn. So, these are various references. It is giving us that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Many references there, but these are glimpses, small few instances where we can take to highlight here that Krishna's supremacy. That's why we have to approach Krishna rather than going to demigod to fulfill our to worship. There is no disrespect. We can, whenever we have to, if there is any situation to worship demigod, you can worship demigod, but with a mood to serve Krishna. So this is how we can understand why we are up in the, when we, Kapila Muni is saying that approach Krishna, this is what we can understand. So approaching Krishna means what it means. When you go to Krishna, what you will do? You have to surrender to Krishna. You need to take the shelter of Krishna. So when we say the approaching Krishna in the literal meaning, when we see that without internal meaning is, when we go to Krishna, we need to surrender Krishna, we need to take the shelter of Krishna. But same thing it was mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papabhyo mokshasami makshita. So the surrendering to Krishna, in this verse it is there, and in Bhagavad Gita various verses also it is mentioned that we have to take the shelter of Krishna. But how many are taking the shelter currently? Right? Not everybody is inclined to go to the path of devotion towards Krishna. And what are the reasons? Like who all are like in the Bhagavad Gita, if you see in the chapter 7, the persons who are not approaching Krishna, who are those persons, right? So, namam duskritino moda prapajyante naradama maya aparta jnana asuram bhavam architam, right? Ashritam. Those are the four kind of people who don't approach Krishna. Even the scriptures are saying, when we say the approach Krishna, it's not that one part, okay, Hindus go or men go or only women go. No, everyone has to approach Krishna. That is the message we have to take from this verse. But not everyone is approaching Krishna, right? The reason what kind of people who don't approach Krishna? So, namami duskritino muda prapajyante naradama mudas naradamas and maya aparta jnana. Those knowledge is stolen and asuram, those are demons. Like, so how we can understand those who are foolish, mudas are foolish. So when we come to the temple, we will have some objective. Some elevated advanced devotees will have an objective to develop love for Krishna. But most of all other people will have a purpose to go back to Godhead. That would be our person. When we come and worship Krishna, that would be our motive. But foolish people are those who don't have any idea about Krishna. Krishna's impact on your life, Krishna's presence in our life, they don't realize. They think that everything is happening because of their effort. Everything is happening because of their hard work. Right? That is how they link. So those are the people who don't approach Krishna. And even scripture, our scriptures and Shikshastakam, many places it was mentioned, even a blade of grass will not move without sanction of Krishna. That is the position of Krishna. But these foolish people think that everything is happening on their will, their hard work. So what they do? They'll work hard. At the age of 20, they'll try to work hard so that at the age of 40 or 50, they will enjoy. And when they reach at the age of 40 and 50, they will think that they will work hard again, hoping that after retirement they will work, they will be happy. But at the age of 60 again, they will start thinking that, okay, I need to take care of my son, my grandson. So they will never get happy. They will keep on working on their fulfilling their family desires and needs, right? This is how the example of foolish person, how they are thinking. They don't, every time this material world is clearly mentioned, dukkhalayam ashashvatam, right? This is misery, is full of miseries, it's temporary. But still they think that, okay, after some time when they work hard, they can fulfill their need, they will feel happy. But whatever, other example is, suppose you may think that, okay, once I get job, I will be happy. But you think that, okay, after getting the job, again you feel that, okay, I need to get a big house. Then you think that after getting the house, you need to, so like this, your desires will never fulfill, right? This is the material situation. These are the foolish people, those who don't approach Krishna, this is the mentality. They will think that they are the doers, they are the achieving things, and they will get happy, they based on their own needs. But the real happiness we get when we approach Krishna with devotion. That is where the foolish people and the devotees difference. And the Naradama, this is the second option, person of type of people who don't approach Supreme Lord Krishna. Naradama. So out of 8.4 million living species, they are there. So that 400,000 are the human beings. In that, Naradama means those who they don't worship Krishna. They don't accept Krishna as a God. So those are the example are atheists. They don't think that, okay, they may be well educated, anything, but they don't consider the Krishna God. They don't consider God first of all, and they don't consider Krishna, they don't even go to the Krishna level. First of all, they don't think that God is there, God is existing. Everything, it's a material enjoyment. Like the life is there to enjoy this world, enjoy it and just wind up your job. That's what they think. And Mayaya Partha Jnana. So the other one is whose knowledge is stolen. I remember in one example where in one lecture I was listening. One day, I think sometime back when Michael Jackson was present on this earth planet, he visited to the temple in America, I guess. He saw Radha and Krishna deity. Then he was telling that, replace that Krishna's deity with my photo, my deity, my photo. That was the knowledge he was saying. Though he was a materially very successful person, but what he's saying that, okay, replace my photo with deity of Krishna. That is the mentality. Though materially they might be successful, but they don't have the knowledge about this Bhagavan, the Krishna, the spiritual knowledge. And the last one is demons. Demons, we may think that, okay, demons are like we see in all the Mahabharata and Ramayana serials or movies where with big head, but demons like there in our everywhere. In a Satya Yuga, demons used to be there in different planet. When it comes to Treta Yuga, it's the same planet but the different continents. When it comes to Dwapara Yuga, it is there within the family. But when we comes to the Kali Yuga, it is there within us. We have so many anarthas which will stop us coming to the performing devotion every moment. So this demonic nature is there in everyone, everywhere. So these demonic mentalities blocking us approaching Krishna. So we need to remove these anarthas. We need to work on removing these anarthas and these demonic mentalities to come to the Krishna. Then only we will be able to approach Krishna. And the second one is, these are the people who don't approach Krishna. That is one level category. And the next level category is, I think even I referred the last week also the same verse. Those who come for Chaturvida bhajante mam jano sukrutino arjuna artho jignasararthate jnanacha bharatarsabha. But these are people, four kind of people who approach Krishna but with material desire, right? Those who are distressed, those are inquisitive, those who are looking for wealth, and those who are looking for jnana, knowledge, these people approach. So what they do, as soon as their desires are fulfilled, they will go back to their original path. But those who get association with pure devotees, they will be elevating it, they were continuing their devotion path. Example is Dhruv Maharaj. We can take the example of Dhruv Maharaj, where Dhruv Maharaj wanted the material desire, like he wanted to have a kingdom bigger than his great grandfather Brahma, and he was looking for his mother told him to go to forest and worship Krishna, Vishnu, and he is fortunate that Narada Muni met Dhruv Maharaj and he gave all the instructions. With the help of Narada Muni, he performed yoga and the devotion, and then he was able to see Lord. But when he see the Lord, after seeing the Lord, when the Lord asked any boon, he said, I got your darshan, that is enough, I don't want any material. So, if you go to the Krishna with some material desire, Krishna will ensure that those material desires are removed from your heart. So, we can stay, some people may still go to the material, Krishna with some material desire. Krishna will ensure that when you reach your due continue sincere bhakti, he will erase those, he will wipe out all those material desires, he will make you a pure devotee. So, but see, so far we have seen examples those who are not approaching Krishna, or those people who are approaching Krishna with some material desire. So we should not feel disheartened that okay, no one is going to Krishna. Not many people are going to Krishna with pure devotion without expecting any merit. But if you see Srimad Bhagavatam, it's full of pastimes. Those devotees who are approaching Krishna with pure mind, with pure consciousness, not with any material desires. If you see the Prahalad Maharaj, even though he was in the demonic family, his father was harassing, creating troubles, but he did not leave the shelter of Krishna. He was always surrendered. He was fully focusing on Krishna's shelter, Krishna's lotus feet. That is the one example. And we can see the Ambarish Maharaj. Even Ambarish Maharaj is also the pastime of Durvasa Muni, right? So, even he took the shelter of Vishnu. He has the ability to counter the Durvasa Muni's curse, the attack by the demon, right? But he did not do anything wrong. He focused on the shelter of, he took the shelter of Krishna. He was focusing on his lotus feet and he was able to overcome the difficulty. Even Parikshit Maharaj, when he was cursed by the son of Shamik Rishi, Shringi, he has the ability to counter curse, that he doesn't need to take that 7 days period and he has to go. But he took the shelter of Krishna. He understood that Krishna has some plan. Krishna arranged this and he accepted. But finally, he heard Bhagavatam and before the Takshak comes, he left his body, right? These are the various examples. Not only that, even Srila Prabhupada, we can see that even he was having so many difficulties in his life, like he got heart attack and when he was going in Jaladuta, but he did not leave the shelter of Krishna, right? Krishna is there, he was fully surrendered, he was fully convinced that whatever Krishna does, it will be for his benefit, he will keep on trying as per his spiritual master instruction. So, we need to approach Krishna, we need to take the shelter of Krishna, but with what mode? You know, right? Rake Krishna, Mare Krishna, Rake. Krishna, if you wanted to kill, nobody can protect. But if Krishna wanted to protect, nobody can stop. That should be our mood. Not only that, even Sikshastakam, it was Mahaprabhu was mentioning, Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, right? You should not go to the Krishna with these desires, right? I need money, I need good wife. Like with that kind of desires, we should not approach. Even Anya Bishlashita Shunyam, we should not go with any material desires. So when we do devotion with all this attitude, without expecting material desires, without expecting any return from the Supreme Lord, we have to approach Krishna. So that is what we have to aim. Yeah, at this stage, it may be difficult for us to get that consciousness, but our sincere sadhana, sincere effort, service to the Lord, at some time, at one stage, we will be developing that consciousness where we approach Krishna with a focus on taking his lotus feet shelter and trying to develop our devotion. So, I will conclude here. Any comments, any questions, anything? ओके, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।